Hello and welcome to Healing Connections. This is Emmy Vadnais. A subtle yet powerful part of our intuition can come in the form of signs and symbols. There's probably been a time in your life when you have asked for, or perhaps prayed for, or set an intention to receive a sign to know that you're on the right path, or perhaps to receive some type of sign to help you make a decision or to get some more clarity and focus in your life. And signs can come in the form of perhaps maybe something that you've been reading. It might come in the form of somebody talking to you that maybe on an unrelated topic of what is challenging you or you are maybe contemplating in your life, but they say something that really clicks with you and you say, aha, I know this is the answer now. It could come in songs. It might come in the radio or a podcast, such as this one you're listening to. And it can just help you to recognize that, yes, this is what I'm looking for. It might help connect you to your subconscious, or maybe the more whole and complete part of you, or depending on your beliefs, it might be the divine or God or spirit. And sometimes these signs might come to you in the form of a symbol, which a symbol can represent or stand for something. It can mean something else. So for example, in my life, one time I was going through a challenge, something that I'd never experienced in my life before, and I wasn't quite sure how to handle the situation. And I looked up and I saw an eagle that was perched high up on a building. And I typically don't see eagles in this location. And so it really struck my attention. And I pondered and I thought, well, this is interesting. This is what I'm thinking about. And I see this eagle. And of course, as such as we can do with, interpreting symbols and having meaning in things, an eagle has meaning in and of itself. If you were to Google or look up what an eagle might mean, it's going to give you some suggestions. And of course, that can be helpful when you see an animal or have some type of symbol come to you, that it can be helpful to look up what it means. But I would encourage you that before you do that, to listen to your own inner knowing, your own intuition. And that's what I did in this case with this eagle. And I just sat there and I contemplated, what is this eagle telling me? And so then I just recognized, what is this eagle doing? Well, it's perched high up. And I noticed what it was doing. It was looking all around. It had a complete 360 view. And I thought, wow, that's really what I need to do in my life, is I need to be high up in how I'm looking at what's happening in this aspect in my life, and to not be narrow-minded in how I was appraising everybody who was a part of this aspect of my life. And I noticed how I was kind of just looking only at a couple aspects, kind of being a little bit more narrow-minded. And when I imagined what this eagle was doing and applying it to my own situation, it helped me to see all aspects of the situation. It helped me to also get a higher view of what other people who were a part of the situation might also be thinking or experiencing. And so that gave me a bigger picture to see things from a more complete perspective, and also from a higher perspective, that higher consciousness, so that I was being able to step back from any types of negative thoughts or emotions to just really look at it more clearly. So I hope that example gives you a little bit of a help in how that can assist you with signs and symbols. And I just want to share with you, I put this quote in my book on page 105, that the very influential Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung has this quote. And he says, the unconscious can be reached and expressed only by symbols. And for this reason, the process of individuation can never do without the symbol. The symbol is the primitive exponent of the unconscious, but at the same time, an idea that corresponds to the highest intuitions of the conscious mind. So I look at working with or taking the opportunity to be with signs and symbols as an opportunity to more fully connect with our whole selves. And you can use all of your senses, what you might see, hear, smell, taste, and feel, to interpret these symbols and to be with them. Another way that we can connect with symbols is, before I get to that, I just want to share with birds. I wanted to mention this as well, but it's not uncommon for people to a bird and or maybe a butterfly, and to feel that that is a message or a symbol of a past loved one who's no longer here on this earth with you. And they find that that is very comforting for them. Or perhaps there was some experience that you shared with a loved one who's no longer here, and something occurs that connects you back with that experience. And so you then can be connected with that past loved one. So dreams are another common way for us to connect with symbols. And a dream can also be very straightforward and give you some messages and some insights. And sometimes we can have a dream where something occurred, but we're not really sure what it meant. Like, why did I dream of that particular image? And so you can meditate upon what that image is. You can, of course, look up the meaning. Of course, I'm going to say that I would encourage you that even if you look up the meaning, make sure that it resonates with you on what it's sharing in that particular description for what's happening in your life, so that you can get the most out of it. When I was in college, I took a class on using art as therapy. And one of our assignments was to draw a picture of a dream and also to write it out in a narrative form. And I also put this in my book as a way of interpreting dreams to help you get more meaning and understanding. And there's many ways to do it. Of course, find your own way that helps you. But I had a dream that I was driving. I was in a car. I wasn't actually driving it. I think in the dream, I was in the back seat. I think no one was in the driver's seat, but I actually felt pretty relaxed, and I was just going down the road. And so what I did is I drew an image of it, and then I went ahead and created a story of it. And then the assignment was to take the main words and change what those words meant and put it into a representation of each word of the dream. So for example, car, and I think I put this in my book as well, might mean freedom. It might mean movement or travel. And so then I changed the word car to one of those words. And then I described the rest of the dream. And so after I did that, then I took that new meaning of those words and I wrote the story out, and it gave me another interpretation of the dream to help understand what was happening for me in my life at that moment in time. So if you have dreams and you're not quite sure what they're meaning, that might be helpful for you. And setting an intention to get more signs and symbols in your life will help connect you. It will help open you to be receiving those signs and messages to help give you insight going forward. Some classic ways of connecting with symbols, additionally, can be like the I Ching, which is the Book of Changes, which is a way of it's a divination tool, a way of connecting with your own self or the greater all, the one mind, however you conceive of that. And by focusing, setting an intention, and then rolling coins, and then you can make these, essentially it's yin and yang lines. There's either 2 dashes or 1 solid dash. And then you make up these hexagrams, you roll 6 times, and then you look up what the hexagram is and the meaning behind it. And it gets more complex than that, but that's one example. Also, astrology can be really helpful for working. I mean, you don't have to go this far into it. I have, of course, for understanding yourself, because really that's what this is all about, is understanding yourself more, getting guidance and direction in your life, and making the best decisions and being able to enjoy life as you go forward with all of the lessons that you're learning. So in astrology, which is a huge topic, but just to touch on this briefly, there are symbols in there with the planets and the signs or the star constellations. And based on your birth time and place, and you can find where these planets were. It's a snapshot of the cosmos, the universe, when you were born. And these main planets can help give you an understanding of what are the common themes or archetypes in your life. And then as time goes on, these planets, of course, are rotating and moving through the universe, and that can help to get an understanding of what's happening with the planets in your own life. So I just want to touch on that. I have found that to be incredibly powerful for understanding what's happening in my life. I sometimes actually use that in sessions with clients as well. So for example, the planet Venus, as we know, men are from Mars, women are from Venus, that book, Venus, it represents femininity and beauty and attraction. It can represent love and relationships. It can also represent money or finances. And so you can use these images to help interpret what might be happening in your life and to get more meaning and understanding, so that you can also cope better in life and move forward in positive ways. And another way of working with symbols or signs or images is using meditation, or sometimes known as guided imagery or creative visualization, where you set an intention of what you would like to maybe get some insight into in your life. And then you can go into a relaxed meditative state, relaxing the mind and the body, and then allow an image or a symbol to come forward that either represents something that you're wanting to get clarity about in your life, or it can represent something that's challenging you or the solution, or it can represent perhaps a wise being, an inner healer, an inner guide to assist you with something that's happening in your life. And I've used this a lot in my life. I'm professionally trained in it, of course, and I also do have some free YouTube videos on how to work with these images. I've got, let's see, there's an inner wisdom guided imagery, there's a special place guided imagery. So check those out, and those can be really helpful for getting insight into areas because of ourselves, because in our normal waking consciousness state, we're not always, I mean, sometimes, yes, we'll be able to recognize when these symbols come, but sometimes we've got that monkey mind. We're thinking, we're worrying, we're planning, or maybe thinking about the past, or maybe thinking about what we're going to have for lunch or for dinner, or who we're going to spend time with this weekend, or what we're going to do, that we don't always let our minds settle, get into the subtleness of our mind, so that we can connect with these aspects of ourselves and really allow these insights to bubble up into the surface, so that we can understand them and access them more clearly. And if you don't want to do that, you can also create your own symbols. And people have been doing this for eons, right? Through poetry, through art, through music, food, dancing. My intuitive teacher taught me that we can really interpret anything, anything that we see, how people are dressed. And we have to be careful that we are not making judgments, but that we're being mindful, and that we're really discerning on what we're interpreting with what's coming through, so that we're really accessing the core truth versus superficiality or our own projections inside of ourselves. And being able to get into that subtle awareness of being able to decipher what is that true intuition. So, for example, you could create an image. Maybe you have a question about something in your life, and you could go ahead and start drawing or doodling and just see what you create and allow that image, that symbol, to speak to you. I have in my book on page 117 how to interpret symbols right over here. And so once you've created your image or your symbol, you can go ahead and go through these steps. So you want to just look at the picture. What do you notice about the object? Observe the obvious details, the color, the shape, the texture. What qualities or characteristics does this image or the symbol have? What does it convey to you? Meaning, what comes to mind? What do you feel it might be imparting to you or sharing with you? How do you feel when you are looking at this image or this symbol? Do you feel joy, fear, anger, love, or any other qualities? What do you notice with all of your senses? What's happening in your senses? Feeling in your body, noticing temperature changes. What might happen when you're connecting with looking at this particular symbol? And what do you feel it's trying to communicate to you? So again, it can be really helpful to engage in some type of relaxation activity or meditation before doing this so that you can get even more information. And it's really fun to really let yourself sink in and allow that information to come forward. And it can be really powerful, all the information that will come to you to help you make decisions and move forward in the best way in your life for learning to have happier, healthier relationships, to fulfill your sense of your own home life and family, and also your outer life, how you are engaging in the world, how you are serving, what you're putting out to the world, how you want to make a difference in society and culture. So I hope this has been helpful for you on ways to connect with your own signs and symbols, getting messages to help you in your life and on your path. Thank you for listening. And until next time, be well.